She said, "Your life's too small for my ambitions." I just smiled, took my card back from her wallet, and let the math catch up to her lies. Now I drive the same old Honda, but I finally have peace money could never bite out. We were together for almost 3 years. Long enough that you stop thinking about stages of a relationship, dating, serious, moving in, and just start thinking in we. We'll get a new couch next year. We'll save for a trip. We'll move somewhere quieter. I met Lila at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was sharp, confident, funny in that way that makes everyone listen when she talks. I was the quieter one, steady, organized, working as a systems analyst for a logistics company. I didn't have a fancy title, but I had a good life. Stable income, a small apartment, an older Honda Civic that still ran perfectly. I wasn't flashy. I didn't need to be. Lila worked in marketing, or, as she liked to put it, branding. She cared about appearances, which was fine, but over time, the small comments started piling up. "Don't you think it's time you upgraded your car?" she asked one day as we pulled up to a restaurant. "It's kind of basic." I laughed it off. "It's paid off. That's luxury to me." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're too practical sometimes. You need to think bigger." There it was, one of the first red flags. Not an argument, not even real tension, just a subtle disapproval of who I was. She started spending more time networking, which usually meant rooftop bars and influencer events. I didn't mind. I like my quiet nights. But I did notice she was dressing differently, taking more photos, posting captions like manifesting higher vibrations. It wasn't my world, but I respected hers. Until one night, when she made sure to humiliate me and mine. It was my birthday dinner, a small group, my coworkers and her friends at an upscale restaurant she insisted on picking. I showed up in a simple navy shirt and my best jeans. Lila wore a new designer dress, the kind that costs a month's rent. Halfway through dinner, one of her friends asked how long we'd been together. Lila laughed lightly. "Almost 3 years. I'm trying to get him to finally upgrade his lifestyle. A real man would upgrade his car for his woman, right?" Everyone chuckled awkwardly. I smiled, even though something twisted in my gut. I looked at her, and she just kept going. "I mean, he's got potential, but his life's just small, you know? I have big ambitions. I need a partner who matches that." There it was, a clean slice through everything we'd built. I didn't shout. I didn't storm out. I just said quietly, "Fair enough." When the check came, she reached into my wallet, a habit I'd let slide for months. Except this time, I took it from her hand before she could pull out my card. "Actually," I said evenly, "I'll take care of this." With my card. She gave a confused little laugh. "Oh, babe, relax." I looked her dead in the eye. "No. I mean, I'll take my card. Out of your wallet." The table went silent. I slid my credit card back into my pocket, handed her purse back to her, and finished my drink. "Enjoy the rest of your night, Lila." Then I stood up and left. I didn't block her that night. I wanted to see what she'd do. And, oh, she didn't disappoint. Over the next few weeks, Lila began posting nonstop, fancy dinners, spa days, designer bags, even a new luxury car in her stories. The captions were nauseating. "When you align with abundance, abundance aligns with you." Her friends kept tagging her in places that didn't add up with her income. She'd been freelancing, but I knew she wasn't making enough for the life she was showing off. Then one day, my phone buzzed. A call from my credit card company. "Mr. Daniels, we wanted to confirm a few unusual charges. Louis Vuitton, for Seasons Hotel, and..." I cut him off. "Wait, I canceled that card 2 weeks ago." He hesitated. "We have another card under your joint account ending in -4403. Joint account. The one she'd talked me into months ago for emergencies." I froze. Then I smiled. Because what Lila didn't know was that I'd been quietly monitoring that account. Every charge, every withdrawal. She thought I'd moved on quietly, but what I'd actually done was start documenting. Every fake emergency, every overdraft, every transaction traceable to her. And then, one particular purchase caught my eye. A luxury car rental. 3 weeks, prepaid. Her new car. It wasn't hers. It was rented. And the payment was about to bounce. I didn't even need revenge. The numbers were already writing it for me. But the real crash was still coming. And she had no idea it would come from someone other than me. It took about 3 weeks for the first cracks to show. Lila had gone all in on her new lifestyle. She was tagging restaurants where a single meal cost more than her week's paycheck, posting videos from hotel balconies with captions like, "You can't manifest abundance while sitting in scarcity." It would have been funny if it wasn't so painfully transparent. The problem with pretending to be rich is that the math always catches up. Her luxury car, the one she'd bragged about buying, was actually a Mercedes rented under my name from a high-end service. The joint card had been linked to her payment file. I knew the charge would bounce when the next billing cycle hit. And when it did, the company reached out to me. "Mr. Daniels," said the representative politely, "we've been unable to collect the remaining balance on your vehicle rental. Would you like us to retrieve the car?" I explained, calmly, that I was not in possession of the vehicle and provided the address it had been parked at, Lila's new condo, which, as it turned out, wasn't hers either. Within hours, the company sent a tow truck. The next day, I received a text from her. "Lila, did you seriously have them take my car?" Me, "It wasn't your car. It wasn't even your card." "Lila, you're pathetic. You'll never have what I do now." Me, "You might be right, but at least I paid for mine." She left me on read after that. A few days later, her Instagram went strangely quiet. No new posts, no stories. A mutual friend, who still worked in her office, reached out to me. "Hey, did you hear what happened to Lila?" I hadn't, but I knew the tone, the kind of tone people use when the gossip's too good to resist. Apparently, she'd been let go from her marketing job. HR discovered that she'd used a client's corporate account to book her wellness retreat. The same retreat she'd told me had been a work seminar. And the man she'd been trying to impress with all her newfound ambition, he was the client. Married. It all unraveled in days. Her landlord, yes, that landlord, called me 2 weeks later. Not for gossip, but because Lila had listed me as an emergency contact. "She's 2 months behind on rent," he said. "She's not responding. Should I file eviction?" I told him, as calmly as I could, that I wasn't her partner anymore and that he had my permission to remove my number from his files. But when I hung up, I did feel something unexpected, not triumph, not relief, pity. Because beneath all that bravado, all those lectures about ambition and luxury and manifesting success, Lila was just scared. Scared of being average. Scared of being seen as ordinary. And the thing about fear is that it makes people cruel. Still, she wasn't done with me yet. 2 weeks later, I received an email, subject line, "You won't get away with this." She accused me of sabotaging her reputation, claimed that I'd leaked personal information to her job. She threatened to get lawyers involved. So I replied with attachments. Bank statements showing every unauthorized transaction on the joint account. Screenshots of the rental agreement with her signature. Texts where she admitted using the joint card for a few things. And one last sentence. "I don't wish you harm, Lila. But if you contact me again, my attorney will handle it." She didn't reply. That was 6 months ago. In that time, I quit my job, moved to a smaller city. I work remotely now, manage systems for a housing company. Still drive my old Honda. The same one she said made me look small. But now, when I pull into my parking spot, I don't see small. I see peace. Last I heard, Lila moved back in with her parents. Her Instagram is private now. Maybe she's finally living within her means. Or maybe she's just planning her next rebrand. Sometimes I still catch myself wondering how someone can build an entire personality out of running from who they really are. Then I remember, some people never stop. They just change hashtags. And me? I don't chase abundance anymore. I build it, one quiet, stable, honest day at a time. Update 1. It's been 8 months since everything happened. I wasn't planning to write anything else about Lila. I thought I'd closed that chapter completely. But life has a way of circling back when you least expect it. A few weeks ago, a message request popped up on Instagram from an unfamiliar username, at Lila_restored. Her new bio read, "Healing, growth, and new beginnings seedling sparkles." I should have ignored it. I really should have. But curiosity won. Her message started with, "Hey, I know I hurt you. I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and I wanted to apologize for everything. I wasn't myself back then. I was insecure, lost. I took it out on you." It wasn't long. Just a few lines. No excuses. I didn't reply right away. Instead, I looked through her profile. It was a new kind of performance. Yoga poses, quotes about self-love and accountability, Captions like, "Sometimes the villain in your story is just a wounded soul learning her lessons." Still, there was something off about it. Something too curated. A week later, a friend sent me a link to a TikTok video that confirmed my suspicion. It was Lila, tearfully telling her story about being emotionally manipulated by an ex who sabotaged her finances after she tried to leave an unhealthy relationship. She never used my name, but the details were obvious. Same car, same job, same timeline. And of course, she left out everything that would have made her look bad. The stolen card, the fake emergencies, the rented car she called manifested abundance. In the comments, people were flooding her with sympathy. "You're so strong. Men like that are terrifying. I've been there." I just stared at the screen for a long time. For a second, I felt that old spark of anger, the same one I'd worked so hard to bury. Then it passed, because I realized she wasn't really talking about me. She was talking about a version of herself that needed to be the victim again. I didn't respond online, didn't comment, didn't send a message, didn't even tell anyone to report it. Instead, I did something she'd never expect. I sent her an email. Subject, closure. "Hi, Lila. I saw your video. I'm not angry, and I'm not here to argue. I just want you to know I hope you actually are healing, not performing it. We both did things we regret, but only one of us is still living inside that moment. Take care of yourself. David." She never replied. The video disappeared a few days later. And that was that. But something about it lingered. The realization that you can't stop people from rewriting their version of the truth. You can only make peace with your own. That's when I stopped checking her social media entirely. Stopped explaining myself to anyone who brought her up. Because if people want to believe the show, let them. I know what actually happened. And more importantly, I know who I am now. I'm not the small life guy in the Honda anymore. Not because I got richer or flashier, but because I finally stopped letting other people's insecurities define my worth. That, to me, is the real upgrade. Final update. It's been almost a year now. I've moved cities, changed numbers, new job, new routines. Life finally feels quiet. And for the first time in years, that quiet doesn't feel empty. Then, one late Friday night, I got an email. No subject line. Just a name in the sender field I hadn't seen in almost 12 months. Lila. For a few seconds, I didn't open it. My instinct said, don't. Just delete it. But curiosity has a gravity of its own. So I clicked. "Hi, David. I know I don't deserve your time. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just need to tell someone who once actually knew me what's happening. Things have gotten really bad. I lost my job, my apartment, my car. The influencer thing didn't work out, and I burned every bridge I had trying to keep the image alive. My parents are barely speaking to me. I don't want money. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. You were right about everything." L. I read it twice. Slowly. Then again, not really reading, just remembering. The first time I saw her laugh. The first time I brushed off the comments about ambition and image. The night she took my card and called it our future. And then the night I took it back. My hand hovered over the reply button for a long time. I wanted to say something. "You did this to yourself." Or, "I'm glad you finally see it." But none of those felt right. They felt small, like she used to make me feel. So I didn't write anything. Instead, I just sat there, staring at the glow of my laptop, feeling not pity, not anger, just distance. A clean, quiet distance. I didn't reply. I archived the email and went to bed. A week later, I got another message. This time from someone else, her mother. We'd spoken only a few times back when Lila and I were together, and she was always kind. Her message was simple. "Thank you for being kind to her, even when she wasn't kind to you. She's trying to get better. She talks about you sometimes, about how you never lost your calm. That's what she's learning now." I didn't know what to say. I just wrote back. "I hope she does get better. We both deserved a little peace." And that was the last message I ever sent connected to that part of my life. I don't romanticize any of it. Lila wasn't a monster, just someone who mistook attention for love and image for worth. And I wasn't a saint. I was quiet, conflict avoidant, too forgiving until I wasn't. But what I've learned, painfully, patiently, is that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is walk away and stay gone. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. The truth is, forgiveness isn't always a conversation. Sometimes it's just choosing silence over reopening a wound. I still drive my old Honda, still live in a modest place. But when I wake up now, I make my coffee, open the windows, and the air feels different. Not cleaner, just lighter. Because peace doesn't come when people apologize. It comes when you finally stop needing them to.